In this next step, what we're going to do is finally take what we've learned about the color module and take the setting that we created earlier in the theme settings page that allowed us to select a color for the background of an input and move that over to using the color module so we have an improved interface and an integrated preview. Okay, go ahead and jump to your resource pack directory, and let's go ahead and open up the 13th step, which is adding the color setting. Okay, and then jump to your Drupal site directory, and in the color folder, what we're going to do is open up the color.inc file. Go ahead and copy all of the code inside of the step file and paste it over the code that's currently in your color.inc file and save it. I'm going to scroll up. If you remember from the previous videos, this file allows us to specify a set of colors to use as inputs inside of the theme color palette. And so the items here each align with a specific set of elements that will change the color of some part of the CSS, either the background color, the color of the text, or the border color, for example. And what we've done is added one more item here. Our previous example that we pulled from the Bartik theme ended at title slogan. This input BG is ours, and we're setting the title of this input to text input background. And then we've also added a default color for all of the color schemes, and we've set it to the same color on each one, F2, C4, E9. And if you scroll down, you'll see this as well, Firehouse in the ice scheme, in the plum scheme, and so on. And this is the only change that we've made to this file so far. If we go ahead and load our theme settings in our browser, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to jump to the browser now. And I'm going to go to the Build a Theme Override Examples settings. Okay, and I'm going to scroll down. You'll see that we have a new item here, text input background, and it's set to the default, which is this pink. And we can click it and change it. And actually we could save it too if we wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and click Save Configuration. And I'm going to scroll down and you'll see our item here. So that's a whole lot of work done with very little input. All we had to do was add a line to our fields array inside of our color.inc file, as well as each of the schemes. Okay, our next step is to make sure that we capture this color change inside of our style sheet. So we need to add a new style inside of our style sheet that has the default color that we set in our color.inc file. So let's go ahead and do that next. Jump to your resource pack directory and open up the 14th step, which is color.css, adding style. And let's go ahead and jump to our Drupal site directory and open up the colors.css file as well. This is what we'll be modifying. Go ahead and copy the entire code inside of the step file and paste it over the code that's currently in your colors.css file and save it. Now we've kept the code the same here, but we've just added an item at the bottom. We're saying input, background, and then we're setting the background. And this has a twofold purpose. The first is that it allows the script that modifies the colors inside of this file to recognize the particular color that we want to change, but then it also sets a default color that matches the default color in our theme settings too. So before a user submits that theme settings page, it will be pulling in this default color from colors.css. Okay, so now if we save this and we go ahead and go to the browser, we need to go ahead and save this because saving this will trigger the creation of the new colors.css file based on the one that we currently have plus our custom changes. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save Configuration. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up the home page in a separate tab so we can take a look at this. I'm going to jump over to it. Okay, now in a previous example we set the background to be yellow, and now the background to the input is this dark purple, which we set as we were modifying our colors. Our final step is enabling a preview of an input in our preview box on the appearance page. Let's go ahead and go to the settings page. I'm going to click Appearance. and Settings under the Build a Theme Override Examples. And if we scroll down to this preview box here, we see there's no input here to show our color changes. So we just need to add one. And if you may remember from previous videos, this is a three-step process. First of all, we need to add the HTML to preview.html. Next, we need to add some CSS to our preview.css file. And finally, we need to add some JavaScript in order to trigger the changes to that background color when it changes in the preview.js file. Okay, go ahead and jump to your resource pack directory and open up the 15th step, which is preview.html, add element to preview. And then jump to your Drupal site directory and go ahead and open up the preview.html file inside your color folder. Go ahead and copy all of the code that's in the step file and paste it into your preview.html file, overwriting everything that's there, and save it. Now the only thing that we've added here is this line right here. We created a div and wrapped it around an input and gave it the type of text because these are text inputs that we're modifying. We gave a unique ID for this div, preview input. Now if you look at the IDs for other elements, you'll see they're all prefixed with preview dash, so we're following that convention here. Let's go ahead and make sure this is saved and jump back to the theme settings page. And let's go ahead and refresh it. Okay, it's a little difficult to see, but there's an input right here. We can highlight it and type some stuff into it. You notice that this is not styled the same way as a Bartik input is. So what we need to do is take some of those settings, some of those colorations of the border and the padding inside of the box, and apply them to our item here in our preview as well. So this moves us to the second step, which is styling our element with some CSS to make it look like it's part of Bartik. Okay, go ahead and jump to your resource pack directory and open up the 16th step, which is called Preview CSS, Add Styling to Preview. And then jump to your Drupal site directory and open up the preview.css file inside of your bat override subtheme. And go ahead and copy the entire code inside of the step file and paste it over the code that's in your preview.css file and save it. And we haven't modified anything in this file. We've only added a single definition here with a few stylings. Notice that we're using the preview input ID as a selector and then selecting the input inside of that. We're giving it some padding, a border, and some margin. And these were influenced by the Bartik theme by using Firebug to investigate how an input is styled and then applying the ones that were most visible into this section here. So now if we save this and we jump back to the preview in our browser and refresh it, you'll see that we have an input that looks a little bit more realistic, a little bit more like our theme. The only step now is to make sure that this element gets styled with the color that we're selecting. And again, this happens at two places. First, when this theme settings page is loaded, and second, when a color change is made. So let's go ahead and jump to the resource pack directory one more time and open up the 17th step, which is called Preview.js, Add Dynamic Color Change. And then go ahead and open up that same file inside of your color directory, the preview.js file here. And just like before, go ahead and copy all of the code from the step file and paste it in your preview.js file and save it. We've added a couple lines to this file. I'm going to scroll up to the top so you can see the context here. And it follows the same structure as most of the rest of the code in this file. And if you watch the video on the preview.js file, then you know what I'm talking about. It's right here under this text field comment. The first step is using a selector that identifies our particular input. So what we're doing is targeting the preview section, and inside of that, the preview input, and inside of that, the input. We are modifying the background color of this element, and then we need to grab that background color, and we're going to grab it from the palette section of the page, and the input, which is called input BG. And this line alone is enough to give us what we need in order to have a dynamic color change on that page for the input. So go ahead and make sure that this is saved and jump back to your browser and refresh the page. And you see that now our input is colored. And if we scroll up and we go ahead and modify this input color, and let's make it a green so it's easy to see the difference here, we see that it changes along with it. And again, if we save these changes and we load up the home page, I'm just going to click on the breadcrumb here, our input is now green.